because this is a people's court and the conversation is, exporting labor abroad and what are some of the baselines that we need to lay to ensure that when we release our people or our citizens to other countries to go and work, then they have grounds that are safe for them to land. Daktari, I don't know whether this would would pass for good grounds of what? I don't know whether they will be good enough, but basically what you find on the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, State Department for Diaspora Affairs, they are highlighting some of the things that you need to look out for so that you are keen to proceed or to work with a certain agent. Of course, I'll not be able to look at everything, but there are some of them that are mentioned here. Recruitments must be by an agent who is duly registered by the Ministry of Labor. I think that we have talked about. They tell you to ensure you request for proof of valid certificate of registration of the agent and verify the same via NEA. I have gone to this processes. I'm telling you, wasichana wanakaa wako na baridi hapo kwa viti. I don't even know whether they have the energy to ask ati hebu tuoneshe certificate yako. I don't even know whether they think about it, and you have seen that, Na unajua agent anawasomea mpaka wananyenyekea hivi because you feel like if you are going to be aggressive enough, they're going to tell you off and deny you that chance. And avoid dealing with illegal subs agents and brokers. They tell you the employment contract must be in English and must be duly authenticated by the recruiting agent and State Department of Labor, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. Carefully read the employment contract. Ensure you fully understand the terms and conditions. Ensure you undergo any mandatory pre-departure training, and the duly accredited training institutions do not pay any fees to the recruitment agent before counter-checking with the National Employment. Complaints of labor contracts should be directed to the Principal Secretary, State Department for Labor. I don't even know whether Kenyans understand that or nowhere. Check before departure. What are some of the things that you need to look out? Let's have it up a bit. Yes, ensure you have a passport with validity of at least 6 months. Secure a valid visa pass, which must be stamped on your passport or accompany your passport. Always keep a photocopy of your passport and visa. You must possess a copy of the employment contract. Acquaint yourself with local labor laws, working and living conditions of the intended country of employment. Acquire the contact address, telephone of the Kenya's diplomatic representation in the intended country of employment. In the country, sasa ukiland pale, you're told secure custody of your passport. I just don't know how easy it is for them. Most of the time, features sanduku wapi ama all that. Do not sign any other employment contract or any blank paper. That is upon arrival. And again, upon arrival, register with Kenya's diplomatic representation as provided for in your passport. Consular services at the earliest possible. It's important that you get them. In the event of loss or damage of passport, notify Kenya's diplomatic representation immediately. Ensure your employer process or resident work permit is on, and fully comply with the labor laws, including restraint to participate in strikes, protests, of course, now when you're on the other side. And in the event of breach of contract, include delay or non-payment of wages or compensation thereof of any complaint. Inform Kenya's diplomatic presentation. There are a lot of things that are put there, including what you need to do on the question of religion. They tell you prior to departure, familiarize with local religious laws and regulations. Be sensitive to local religious practices and customs. This only good in paper, and or what will be coming to you to respond to that. But Madam HR, what would you want to see incorporated? Because even these laws speak of how you should undergo training prior or before you travel abroad. But most of the times you actually get to see some of these people actually going abroad to be trained from there as opposed from home.
Thank you, Linda, for that opportunity and hosting me tonight. I'm sorry, sir, for what you've gone through. I'm HR and I'm also a career coach. So I usually meet job seekers and also employers at the same time. So as a recruiter,
all right.
You can hear me?
Ongeza volume kidogo. All right.
Okay. So as a recruiter, what are some of the things which I can suggest? First of all, the JD, or rather the job advert, it should be so clear, just as the other job adverts are. What are the qualifications? What are the competencies? And what are the education qualifications? Where are we supposed to apply through? Because we've seen what happened at KICC. The other day it was at Jesus Winners Ministry, I think so. And we saw the huge turn up of people, or rather job seekers. Why don't we just embrace recruitment things like we've got ATS, which actually scans through people's CV. That one makes work to be more easier, right? Now, I want also to embark what my friend Yamolamba has said. One of the things which pushes us to look for jobs abroad is actually pressure. Now, we should remember agrarian revolution. It all began because of agriculture. So as a career coach, whenever I meet someone who is looking for a job, I also give them other alternatives. Have you tried agriculture? Agriculture led to industrial revolution and to our present technologies which we have currently right now. The other day, it was so much disheartening to see what we call the Saudi house model, which was invented by our CS labor, actually training domestic workers how they should expect to be working in Arabic. That is so disheartening. Everybody knows that Kenyans are very wise, and that's why we've got a lot of Kenyans working abroad. So instead of training our Kenyans to work as domestic workers, why don't we train them to work with white-collar jobs? That's a question we should all ponder.
Okay.
Thank you.
Interesting. Gentlemen, msinyamaze hapo sana. Semeni kitu. I mean, what do you make of this whole situation that you're about to clear school? And I mean, the greatest fear then would be, what happens to me next? Do you ever see yourself falling culprit of this? And in the event that an opportunity to travel abroad presents itself, what do you do?
Thank you for having me tonight.
Karibu sana.
My name is Moshere James, a disaster risk manager, as well as an event host and entertainer. Well, there's a huge disconnect between the educational framework and whatever we are implementing from the education ministry onto the job market, whereby you find that they say a degree is only important when you don't have it. And now when you have it, once again, you're up and about, you cannot secure any job. We say, welcome to Kenya in Swahili, karibu zaidi Nairobi, ambapo tunasema kuna wale wanaotafuta na zaidi kuna wale wanaotafuta. The disconnect comes in by the government. How are we creating awareness? Because today we are having very well-informed people from the government, from the different sectors. But now, how is this information going to trickle down to that person in the university? How is this information going to trickle down to the mama mboga down in the village? How is this information going to trickle down to that desperate soul who is out there with a degree, either skilled or unskilled?
Okay.
Now, because the question from what you asked, yes, you've given me the opportunity, but the place that you're taking me is a whole lot of different things where I have to be trained again. And that now creates another gap of, are we ready, even as the government, to upskill whatever skill whatever manpower that we are giving to the industry? Are we ready as the people to also get upskill, whereby I'm assuming in any field, as a disaster risk manager right now, if I'm told that you need to upskill, you need to take a 2 months break from your field and so that you can upskill.
Right.
Am I ready for that? And once, if I'm ready, is the industry also ready to uptake me once again after I'm ready?
Interesting. Yeah. And of course, Senior, as you respond to some of these concerns that have been raised by the ladies and gentlemen right here, historically, and I stand corrected, I think if there's a government that has committed to sending, labor abroad, then it has got to be this very government. Do you suppose some of these concerns that have been raised have been factored in, so that even when we talk about what agencies have done and what they have lacked to do, then we also understand that those ones that are being sent by government are in safe hands?
Yeah, thank you very much for those observations. I think I may want to start with the earlier concerns.
As long as you make it tight, in the best interest of time.
To dissemination of information. I think that's where we need to work on much more aggressively than we've been doing. But if you realize from last year, I think the whole entire last year, our ministry, from the top leadership of the minister, the principal secretary, ourselves at the operational level, have been out there doing initiatives at the grassroots level, at the county level, trying to engage with wananchi on recruitment drives. And we have used those platforms to disseminate this very information that migrants need to check before they migrate for opportunities abroad. We are also working with international partners, the International Organization of Migration and the ILO, the Nyumba Kumi and the county commissioners at the grassroots level to ensure that the information reaches people at the ground, because we have realized that while it's becoming easy for Kenyans to be scammed, even when the information is available at all these various platforms, is lack of information. And because of the desperation that has been ably explained by Mr. Mulama. In terms of the checklist, I think there are two important things that I want to mention, that I want to highlight, that our agency, that is the Directorate of Labor Migration, together with the Labor Department, is also supposed to attest the employment contracts of any Kenyan who is trying to access jobs abroad. You are not supposed to go out there before your contract has been attested. And he'll tell you that once they select candidates, they have to upload their documents in the NEMI system for online attestation, together with, of course, the candidate presenting themselves to confirm that they have given informed consent of the terms and conditions that appertain to that job. And again, we have the airport unit that we have established at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and even at Mombasa. We are also operational at Mombasa, where again our officers check on all the checklists that you have seen to ensure that somebody has been processed by the right agents and has fulfilled all the requirements, and that their migration is known by the government. Most of the cases that you've had, the Kenyans who are stranded, including in Myanmar, I can attest here that they never passed through the labor officers, the clearance system at the airport, and most of them also used tourist visas and business visas for their travel. And as far as government was concerned, we have data of those people who are living using those tourist visas, but again, we are a bit constrained by the law. Because anybody living for business, of course, Kenyans have rights to travel under the Constitution. We cannot stop them, but we have raised these issues within government, and we are trying to look for a way of redressing them, because most of it is perpetrated by the travel agencies. Travel agencies, of course, we are in government, but they are regulated under the State Department for tourism. But sooner or later measures will have to be taken to address that gap.
Do you think international collaboration, like what we had begun by highlighting, would then help combat these concerns? Because you see, if you know very well that this one has received a business visa, perhaps when they land on the other side, then you are in contact with the other country, such that they are on alert to make sure that, of course, if there's a certain timeline as to when they're supposed to be in this country, then thereafter they're being reached out to ensure that they come back home.
We have attempted to do that with a number of partnering countries, destination countries, particularly some of them the UAE and others in the Middle East. But again, you know, the issuance of visas is the prerogative of foreign governments. And it's also a way for them for raising revenue. So again, we may not have much leverage, although it's something that we have engaged with them, including during bilateral engagements that we've had with them in their countries and in Kenya, and also using foreign affairs and our missions abroad. But the effective cure would be for us to have an internal mechanisms of controlling outward migration, like what Philippines does, what Sri Lanka does, and what India does. Yeah, unless we do that, it may be a challenge to curb irregular migration, because as he has rightly put it, people are being pushed by desperation, and they are ready to fall for any opportunity that comes by. And much as my colleague, the good lady has said that we should not train for domestic workers to uptake opportunities in GCC, I can tell you the highest number of migrants we are receiving every day from
Are in that space.
in that space.
Okay.
Yes, I have data from our airport.
That we're receiving?
That are going, that are
going
moving,
abroad.
that are moving.
And I mean,
Yes.
we cannot leave this space without
Yes.
getting to understand
Yes.
what are the working conditions for those ones that are foreigners working in Kenya, but that you will respond to shortly. This is a generation of, technology, the digital world and everything. How can we leverage on technology, first of all, to make sure that Kenyans do not get scammed? Because within that setup of technology, Kenyans can be scammed. But at the same time, within that setup, we can really get to enlighten so many of us so that they do not fall prey. Because then when we're talking about a certain company and we see imeandikwa pale online, are we always reminding ourselves that we really need to do due diligence in such spaces? You can go. You have a mic? All right. You can take the mic with Mulamba. I'm told that is not audible.
And I'm privileged to be hosted here. So I think using the social media platform to enlighten the others about how scammers do this. And it's so unfortunate that most of these scammers do them online. So we, as a young generation, we look onto the government website. Why is it so difficult for the government to publish all the agencies online?
In relation to that, I don't know whether you have the mic is good enough, or you want to allow him to finish and then we come to you briefly.
So you see, we are in a digital world whereby most of the things are done online. So we are trying to, the hostility getting job back in this country is so hard. Right now I'm waiting to graduate so that I can see if I can get a job. But it's so hard. So I'll be desperate. I'll just be going online, popping in all the links that are fake. I'll just click, I'll be misguided, go and apply. But we are relying on the government and the agency because we don't trust the agency. We don't know them. We know our government.
Right.
Most of our main problem is what we call massive brain drain, whereby we train our people, but we don't absorb them locally.
Okay.
So what do? We leave them. We are hanging. So we opt to go for these cheap agencies. We pay money so that we can go abroad. And I have a question to...
yes, make it tight.
just to be brief, I have a question to the government. What's happening what's happening, these people being taken to the Gulf? Because you can see a full plane of people going to Gulf to work. Then after 1 month or a year, unasikia someone has been killed, someone does what. But these people, these things are being done by agencies that are certified by the government.
Okay.
Are there any revocation of their licenses that has been done?
All right, fair enough. You'll be responding to that. Make it very tight, Mulamba, because of time and also...
See, the funny thing is, we are a tech-savvy generation, right? I was
Therefore,
going
yes.
through the website for the NEA IMSS, and it is not working.
Okay.
Does it have a duration? Does it work from, say, 8 to 5 p.m.? Then after that, it doesn't work. So how can we verify that these agencies are accredited? I was trying to look up the Trust Pin Agency. I had looked up the Trust Pin Agency 2 weeks ago. The website was working. It is not working right now.
And I will agree to that, because this is it. I was busy trying to see whether I can get to the NEA portal, but of course I had some difficulties, and therefore I would agree to what it is that Mulamba says, at least as at now. Perhaps their timings or maybe the systems are down, as you're always told. But anyway, interesting. You want to say something, gentlemen? You're good. We'll come back to you. I know you want to say something. Okay, you can go. You have the mic? All right. Iko sawa sasa? Kama iko sawa mtuambie, labda sisi ndio hatujaingia vizuri.
No.
All right, proceed. They have a technical issue.
Yeah, which is being solved.
Why are you speaking for them?
No, it's here. It's here. I asked already.
Oh, thank you, sir. They say, they have a technical issue from today morning?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good.
It's here.
All right. The mic, please get a different mic. It's on mute. That one is on mute. Okay, I don't know whether that works. Try.
Thank you so much. My name is Felix Soita. I've heard from the government side that there are a good number of strategies that they have laid down. But my question was, in this country, many a times we will hear this just as a mere discussion because we're ground different. This plethora of cases is quite alarming. So how are they going to do to make sure that those strategies are effective so that my village mate back in Manafa village can be able to see this? Because at most, many people who are usually scammed in these cases are usually people between the age of 18 to 24 years. So how are they going to make sure that there is proper sensitization? If it is in universities, I haven't seen any conference where we can be taught about this, we can have that sensitization. So what are they doing? Just seeing it as just a mere discussion because I haven't seen anything on the ground. Thank you.
And I'm afraid that I am not supposed to declare this, but I am worried that we might leave this space having not gotten pretty much tangible solutions to the concern that we're raising. But we appreciate that we are raising an alarm, and we appreciate that we are highlighting some of the things to look out for. And in that space, then one would want to understand what are some of the high-risk sectors when it comes to labor transportation. What are some of the areas in unasema, hey, hizo jobs zinakuanga mingi sana, like what she speaks about, you know, domestic works and all that. And what are some of the areas that people need to look out for and to be very careful when they're being told that their jobs abroad as to this and all that? Because you see, when someone is being taken abroad as a professional, sometimes there are grounds as to, you know, you making sure, or you being sure that, of course, this is something legit. But on these other spaces, when I'm going to ukwe bouncer and ukwe nani and everything, I mean, what are some of those ones that Kenyans should be keen on, especially when they're told that there's this availability of job abroad or on this other side?
Thank you so much. Where the problem is mostly is the unskilled labor or same-skilled. If you are going like bouncer, security, construction worker, housemaid, those are the issues where we get a lot of people being scammed. You should be cautious about it. Then I would also answer, there is somebody who asked that the people are dying. Okay, that thing, honestly, if you follow it very well, you may find that there is no death. The death which comes up actually is, we create it. Most of the problems that we face actually, I'm talking out of experience because I own a school which trains people who are going abroad, and I also have an agency that takes people abroad. What happens on the side of our sisters, mostly these are people who go to the Middle East, isn't it? And they are very strict on their laws. There is no, a man and a woman, it's very rare to find you together. But in the process that you've got pregnancy, how do you get out of it? That's death. 2, there is no alcoholism. You find actually people making local brews from all kinds of manners. They end up in jail. And that's why you find that the government is still taking people. However much you hear people crying, the government is taking people because they know the truth. The truth is, most of our girls, I'm not saying all, they die because of pregnancy.
Okay.
Yes. That's the truth.
Now you are just beginning the show and we're about to close.
I'm speaking out of, I'm saying, I own a training.
So what do you say? So are you trying to say that they're trying to get rid of the pregnancy or what exactly?
Exactly.
That does not justify.
I don't.
Yes.
Right?
And I'm saying the problem here, by the way, we are not even angry at the recruiting agencies. We are angry at the government trying to take us out of our own country. Instead of creating employment opportunities here, instead of funding entrepreneurship programs here, and instead of factoring in manufacturing and industrialization and equipping it. The government is not interested in that. In fact, wanataka ama with wote waende.
And fair enough. Let's allow Senior to say something as we come to a close. Perhaps tell us what lessons do we pick from this because we have to close.
I have something to raise before
30 seconds.
Yeah. So you're saying our girls out there, they are breaking the laws of that land. Does it mean...
Stand up. That does it mean?
Yeah. Tumeona the other day, there was that lady mwenye alikuwa Vietnam and he was about to be killed. The other day pia there was a British mwenye aliuliwa na whatever happened, and Kenya was sanctioned. So does it mean Kenyans are less valuable? Thank you.
Interesting.
Even the same in Lebanon. Tumeona wakati ilikuwa inapigana huko.
Yes.
Wakenya wanaumia huko.
Wanahangaika.
Sasa it's not about pregnancy. Ile kitu ningependa kuuliza the government side. Mimi wakati nilipa pesa ya MBC 2022 nikaenda nikalipa Equity. Nikajua na nikaambiwa mzuri, usipo faulu kuwa cleared by MBC, hizo pesa zitarudi. I'm requesting that this government watengeneze a bill where if ukienda kwa embassy ukuwe uja faulu, hiyo pesa irudishwe. Sababu unanielewa? Sababu
embassy ama labda agency because maybe agency. Sababu
wao wanachukua pesa ili wakijua tuseme ni watu 100 wameapply, they know 80% will fail. Kwa hivyo they carry away our money.
Okay.
Unaona? Na hawa vijana, sababu mimi ni mzee,
tukimalizia
baba ya some of these wanasema wao ndio wanatoa, sio wao, sisi ndio tunatoa pesa tukiwapea. Unaona? Kwa hivyo let's be very clear that if one
is not successful,
at
least a certain amount irudishwe.
Yes.
Okay.
Itakuwa mzuri.
Hata ni kama nitachukua hii conch kutoka kwako nipatie sini dakika kidogo sana tukimalizia.
Yeah, I hear what the audience is saying, but what I can say in terms of providing jobs, low skills jobs tend to be more riskier than others, but the cure for risks that are attended to foreign migration is following due process that is laid down by the government. That's the only cure that can guarantee you, because you may land into a distressed situation even when you have a nice and decent job. But if the government is aware, either here at home or in the country of destination through our embassies, then we will be able to come for you. And that's where we are working on Kenya Migrants Welfare Fund to look into the distress issues of migrant workers.
Okay.
That's one of the measures that we are taking. In terms of
as we close,
the refund that you're talking about, I think we will also be informing you that if you are not aware, that recruitment agencies are by law allowed to charge some minimum commission. Yeah, that is equivalent to 1 month's basic salary. But most of them, of course, tend to overcharge that money. But we understand why they do that, because most of these jobs have become very competitive. It's not only Kenyans who are looking for these jobs out there. Other countries are equally doing the same and are more aggressive and have been in that business for many years. So they pay for the opportunities that you see here in the country. They are forced to pay some money by the employers there. And he'll tell you that. To get a visa, sometimes they are asked to pay tens of dollars to get those visas so that our people can get those opportunities. So that, in a way, tends to make them, ask for a commission that sometimes go beyond what the law provides. We are aware of that, but we are working with the partnering governments through the bilateral labor agreements to ensure that any commission that is paid is within the law and does not violate obligations that we have signed to with the ILO and the IOM.
Okay.
Thank you.
Asante sana. All right. Diaspora Alliance, the people who are abroad must register to be members.
Yes.
What are some of the benefits if you're told you're going to go abroad and you have concerns?
Well, there's so many benefits. First of all, is it in closing or this is just?
In closing. In closing.
Well, first of all, I'll just remind you again, this conversation around remittances and what is happening in the country is symptomatic of the foundation. There's a problem that is present in our country. And as has been mentioned before, migration is not going to stop. Even if we decide, let's say idealistically speaking, we decide that we are going to have a country that works in a certain way, some people for one reason or the other will decide, they'll still make the decision to leave.
Yeah.
However, the foundations have to be proper. And like has been mentioned by my colleagues here.
Sum it up.
Yes. One of the benefits of joining, for example, the Kenya Diaspora Alliance is that you're able to get collaborative efforts through individuals and also philanthropies and organizations that secure your life insurance, for instance, and if you're choosing to invest or whatever. But most importantly, you are going to be secure within a system where your remittances are surely working for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So those are for long-term persons that are.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Speak to this one in closing as you give us your parting shots and maybe tell us about your agency.